It's your girl, Demon Baby Doll. Welcome back if you're here again, and welcome if you're new. Today we're doing Jonestown, the Massacre at Jonestown, which is by the cult leader Jim Jones. That fuck. Well, so, as normal, I've got Issa Bone Man here.
Hey, what's going on?
And somewhere in the other room we have our dog.
Yep.
So we're gonna go into the history, and we will get into the loveliness of the suicide cults, and you will learn the meaning of don't drink the Kool-Aid.
It's not as good as my cult, but, you know, not every cult can be,
Your
I guess.
cult failed.
I know, but our god was cool. He was like a donkey man. But anyway. Alright, go for it.
Alright. James Warren Jones was born May 13th, 1931, in Crete, Indiana, to James Thurman Jones and Lynette Putnam. The Jones family moved from Crete to Lynn, nearby. Jones was an avid reader from a young age and an avid studier of people like Gandhi, Stalin, who was a socialist who followed in socialism, Marxism, Leninism, and communism. Karl Marx, a socialist. Mao Zedong, I believe he was a Marxist and a Leninist. Don't quote me on that. I tried my best. And Hitler, the fascist.
Yeah, that one kind of confused me, because following Stalin obviously isn't, like, great either, but he's like, yeah, Gandhi's pretty cool, but also Hitler is a really cool guy.
I know, it's one of those things that just never made sense to me, but you know what, we find out why he liked Hitler so much later on.
I still find that weird, though, because he's, like, super religious. Like, what do his little, like, prison boys say? Like, the little boys he keeps, like, locked up in his church. Is he just like, oh yeah, ignore that copy of Mein Kampf on my table?
He, as far as I know, Jones didn't molest boys. Or any children, but that's...
He did like boys, though.
Oh yeah, he was bisexual.
Mm-hmm. You like the dink.
You like the dink, yes. Yeah. Alright. As well as liking...
Happy Pride Month, guys!
Oh yeah, Happy Pride Month! We actually like gay people.
They're cool. This gay is not okay.
No, honey.
No.
You can't say that. He's dead.
Still, though.
I know. He just happened to be a horrible person that just happened to be bisexual.
You know who else was? Hitler.
No, he wasn't!
Can you imagine all these years later if it would come out that Hitler was, like, super flamboyantly gay? But it just didn't come through via the speeches.
Right.
That'd be rough. But anyway, moving along.
Anyways, I feel like I still have to reiterate, we are huge supporters of the LGBT...
Honey,
no, I'm gonna say it!
They get it.
Well, we are huge supporters of the LGBT plus community. Anyways, as well as being into these assholes and Gandhi, he was super heavily into religion, like Bone Man said. Jones had held funerals for roadkill and cats, as well as preaching his own kid sermons to other kids. He was often found around town with a Bible. When he was born, his mother filled his head with statements of grandeur, saying he was born to be great and that he was going to be the greatest man. He did something greatly awful. So his mom filled his head with a bunch of bullshit. Mm-hmm. That was a bad idea. Jones would be seen around town going from church to church. He went to he went to a Nazarene church, a Methodist church, to the Baptist to find his church, and he found himself with the Pentecostals.
Yeah, why would you ever freaking go there? That's just questionable.
I got my own trauma with that.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know, and there's nothing wrong with your religion as long as it doesn't harm anyone, but Pentecostals, to me, are one of the more terrifying religions because, they speak in tongues and, like, they touch you. There's, like, a lot of, like, heavy-duty, like, faith healing.
That's sketchy as fuck.
I guess my mom went to a church like that when she was a kid, like, once. And when I was in elementary school, I went to a church like that once. Yeah. And I got yelled at in the Sunday school for having short hair. At the Pentecostal church, he would get saved just about every Sunday, and that was considered really weird. You know, that's like a lot of like hands-on touching and like faith healing, like dancing. I mean, it's a very physical and active style of church. German prisoners at one point made their way to Lynn, Indiana during World War II. once said something to Jones in German and patted his head. And in turn, Jones got the bright fucking idea to shout Heil Hitler.
I mean, that's just how you greet German people, to be honest.
No, honey, I think they were in camps. I honestly don't know what they mean in terms of prisoner of war. Like, were they prisoners of the war? Like, were they, like, German people who were trapped that are good? Or were they, like, Nazis? I don't think it was Nazis if he just did the Heil Hitler thing.
I feel like I'm sorry, who were the POWs?
Germans.
Then yeah, they...
Well, because it wouldn't make sense for him to say Heil Hitler.
I think he was just down with it because they were German, and as long as they were German, he was like, yeah, I'll just hail Hitler around
Maybe.
Them, that's the cultural, like, appropriate thing to do.
You want to hear something that'll make sense? Jones's father was assumed to be a KKK member.
Wow.
Yeah.
Color me shocked.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
And I guess that was, like, really popular during the Depression. Because if you think about it, Jones was born in 1931. I think that's, like, right in the middle of the Great Depression, or, like, right there near the end.
Yeah.
Somewhere like that. But oddly enough, Jones hated the fact that his dad was a racist. He had a African-American friend who wanted to come over and, hang out. Couldn't do it because his dad's a Bill fucking racist.
Yeah. That one really weirds me out because a lot of his anime backstory is very...
It's
like,
weird.
hypocritical. It's very strange.
Well, you'll hear later on. I think over 60% of his congregants were black.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
In December 1948, Jones graduated early with honors, so he was smart. And he makes these poor fucking choices.
Mm-hmm.
Jones supported himself by working as an orderly at Reed Hospital, where former co-workers say they noticed he had strange and disturbing behavior. One incident included Jones manhandling a patient in traction while shaving him. The result was the patient was injured with a straight razor.
Oh, wow.
How do you... Really, things don't start making sense? He's, like, manhandling patients, and that just, like, not make any sense?
They get... People back then get away with a lot of shit, because, they're just quirky.
Oh, God. I'm quirky.
Much like nowadays.
Ooh. We do not support pick-me's in this household.
Nope.
Except our dog. We pick him every time.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
During his time at Reed Hospital, Jones met Marceline Baldwin. Not Marceline the Vampire Queen, unfortunately. That'd been a way cooler story.
Boo.
You don't like Marceline the Vampire Queen?
No, I'm saying boo because it's not her.
Oh. Well, she's also a Baldwin, but I don't think she's that kind of Baldwin. That would suck if she was. They ended up getting hitched in 1949. And she would later die with him in Jonestown. Like a fucking idiot.
Now that's loyalty right there.
I'm never dying with you in suicide.
Oh no, that's not the plan.
There's a plan?
Maybe.
Anyways, we're gonna ignore that. There's a reason why he doesn't cook dinner for me.
I love insurance money.
We're not married, so you don't get anything. One day, you'll get nothing.
I'll get all the things.
In 1951, Jones began attending gatherings of the U.S. Communist Party.
Sweet.
When the Red Scare was in fucking full swing.
It's like, yeah, they got some ideas.
Fun fact, my sophomore year of high school, we had to change our school slogan from Red Army to something else.
I wonder why.
Yeah, but that had been the slogan for them for a really long time, like what we call like the student body.
Yeah.
It's
still really silly.
Yeah. Jones wanted to get involved with the church and was surprised when a Methodist district superintendent helped him get his start in the church. Even though he was a known communist, Jones joined/infiltrated the church to demonstrate his Marxism. How do you get communists? Infiltrate the church. Jones became a student pastor at the Somerset South Methodist Church in 1952 and later left the church because the leaders would not let Jones integrate the church. Unfortunately, Jones had to be a fucking ass and make a cult instead of making the right choices and helping, work for a worthy cause.
Yeah, because the dumb thing is, he does have some sort of redeeming like things, but he still is like, man, Hitler's a cool guy. Like, I can't like, no matter how many like steps forward he makes, it's all built on the foundation of, yo, I want to be a manipulating asshat.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
And around this time, Jones witnessed faith healing at a service at the Seventh-day Baptist Church.
Which totally is real, people. If you see your loved one who just got run over on, like, the road, just, like, put your hands over them and
scream for Jesus.
Scream for Jesus. They'll get healed immediately.
Yes.
That's how that works. Honestly, it will probably work if you scream to, like, Cthulhu. That'll probably do something to him.
I mean, maybe Satan, because there's, like, already blood involved.
Yeah. I mean, Cthulhu might turn him into a weird monster, but...
Weird monsters are better than people, because people fucking suck.
Yeah. Monsters just do whatever, because they don't care.
Exactly. Eldritch horrors, kids.
They're cool.
They're the best.
They're pretty neat.
Jones saw that this faith healing attracted people and their money.
Money.
He concluded that he could accomplish his social goals with financial resources at the service such as these. He straight up saw he had money. He had dollar signs in his eyes looking at this shit.
Yeah, I mean, then again, I would assume that's like one of the main reasons he freaking wanted to manipulate people.
Well, yeah, if you think of overly faithful people, you know, and you want to scam people and get money, this is a good way to bleed them dry.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're not that religious. We don't. That's a little too rich for our blood.
Yes, that's why we're not religious.
Mm-hmm.
June.
Also, cause Cthulhu's cool. I've never seen God make people crazy in their dreams. I mean,
there was a burning bush. That wasn't just an angry redhead.
I'm pretty sure it was just weed, though.
Maybe.
I'm pretty positive
that wacky tobacco.
Pretty sure it was the wacky tobacco, and they're like, "Oh man, a burning bush talked to me."
He looked a toad.
Yeah.
June 11th through 15th of 1956, Jones organized a mammoth-sized religious convention after having Reverend William M. Branham, a healing evangelist and a religious author who was well respected as Oral Roberts.
Good old Oral.
Moral Oral.
Yep.
Fucking show.
Jeez.
I want to go back and watch the episode that's like so like clearly burned into my head where Oral is blindfolded and the pastor or whomever, whatever they are for the Catholics, takes him to a BDSM club.
Yeah.
Like a dungeon.
I remember that episode.
That's the first and only really episode I sat
shit.
and watched. It was disturbing.
A good show.
We'll have to watch that after this.
Mm-hmm.
After the convention, Jones was able to start his own church, which had various names until it became the People's Temple Christian Church Full Gospel.
Fuck that name.
Later shortened to People's Temple. Jones was ordained as a minister in 1957, that he was about 25 or 26, and then again by the Independent Assemblies of God in 1964, about 32, 33, just so I can kind of set up a timeline for you guys. That's about the age he was in the 60s. He was in his 30s by the Disciples of Christ. Jones was known to regularly study Adolf Hitler and Father Divine to learn how to manipulate members of the People's Temple. Now, clearly we all know who Hitler is, but for...
Yeah, I don't fucking know who Father Divine was.
For Bone Man here, Father Divine was a spiritual leader, and due to his ideology, many considered him to be a cult leader. He taught that his life fulfilled all biblical prophecies about the second coming regarding himself as Jesus Christ reborn. He was heavy on communal living, chastity. He established a modesty code which would forbid smoking, drinking, and profanity.
Boo.
Watch your profanity.
I will not. Fuck that. Any cult that's like, yo, no sex and no profanity, that's an immediate nope for me.
Right.
Even if they have a black Jesus.
Black Jesus?
Yeah, wasn't Father Divine black?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I don't have pictures. I know how to read, unlike some people.
Boy. Pretty sure you're the one who can't, Miss Dyslexic.
Just leave my dyslexia out of this. No one asked you.
But yeah, no, fucking look at your cults. Fuck. Like, actually have some fun in them. Then maybe more people will join. Nobody wants to join, yo, let's have fucking crumpets and talk about how cool Jesus was. That's some lame shit.
This also forbade tips, bribes, receiving gifts, and undue mixing of sexes, along with women wearing slacks, short skirts, and men wearing short sleeves. Gender separation. Gender separation was a very common thing in cults.
Yeah.
Especially ones that involved sex. They always wanted to separate the men from the women, because once they're separated, the women are the ones that have been found to have more faith, and so that just went, downhill. Jones and Divine, they were well acquainted. Divine told Jones personally to find an enemy, and to make sure they know who the enemy is. They being his congregation, as it will unify those in the group and make them subservient to Jones. They're slaves of the mind, and they have a common enemy. In 1960, Mayor Charles Boswell of Indiana appointed Jones director of the local Human Rights Commission. Unable to follow the rules, Jones found new outlets to get his views out to the world, in local television and television programs. And radio. I said local television. I meant to say local radio. That's okay. He often cheered during NAACP and Urban League meetings and shouted, "Let my people go."
Oh my
This was a white man. And I'm down for him supporting it. That's like cool, but sometimes I think Jones was confused.
Like, they're my people. Like, did he think he was black?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, he clearly had some fucking bats up in his attic.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and I'm really happy that, he was, supportive.
I mean, that's always a good quality in a person, but like,
I know.
There's a line there where you're like, I can sympathize, or I can
sympathize and help, and then there's...
I am one of you.
I know your struggles when, no, Jones, you don't.
Nope.
You're white. You don't know anything. Jones and his wife started the Rainbow Family. And it's not something cool. It kind of is.
It sounds like a pride thing.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, it's not a pride thing. Jones and his wife adopted several non-white children, and I think by the end of it they had like 9 kids, and calling themselves the Rainbow Family. Jones adopted in 1954 Agnes, who was half native. Then in 1959, they adopted 3 Korean American children, Lou, Stephanie, and Suzanne. Also in 1959, Jones and his wife had their only biological child, named Stephen Gandhi Jones.
That's a little try-hard, but okay.
Yep. In 1961, they were also the first to adopt an African American child in the state of Indiana.
Can you imagine if they had their own kid, but it was also black?
Marceline got some explaining to do then.
Yeah, I know. No, but because he thinks he's black, he's totally chill with it.
Oh my god.
Just imagine, just like, oh, I knew it. I knew.
I don't think he thought he was black. I think he was just wrong in the head.
I know, but still, the idea is really funny, and his wife is just like, oh, thank God he's a moron.
You know how people normally name their kid, like their biological kid, like whatever, something junior.
Yeah.
They didn't do that for their son. They did that for the adopted child. They named him James Warren Jones Jr.
That's rude.
Little bit.
But
I don't think Steven would be able to live with having the same name as his father at the end of all this.
Yeah, and
because he lived.
I guess it's like, I guess it's kind of nice too for the adopted child, because he's like, oh yeah, I'm a junior because I'm actually part of the family.
Yeah,
I'm not just eating rat food off the floor in the orphanage anymore.
They also adopted a white son named Timothy Glenn Tupper. His mother was a temple member.
Okay.
Jones left to Guyana for the first time in 1962 after preaching to his people about the fears of a nuclear war, and he fucked around Guyana until about mid-1963. In December of 1963, Jones returned to Indiana and told his congregation that the world would be consumed by nuclear war and on July 15th, 1967.
Oof.
Well, that didn't fucking happen.
Boo.
So they moved to California, as good cults do.
Yep, because every cult loves California.
For some reason.
Because it's ripe with dumbasses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they moved to Ukiah, which I believe was in Redwood Valley. There, Jones starts on some sketchy shit, and he starts calling Christianity a flyaway religion. And that the Bible is a tool of oppression for women and non-whites. Jones was incredibly vocal about human rights, like if you were gay, straight, black, or white, you were welcome to the church. In a way, he isn't wrong, but damn, no one wants to agree with a cult leader. That's like agreeing with a pedophile. You don't want to do it.
That's no good.
Like, you don't want to do it, but damn, when you guys have the same views on something.
I know, but even though a pedophile would be like, yo, Guilty Gear is sick, I had some great Saw matches, I still wouldn't, like, sympathize with the dude.
No, you're not sympathizing, but it sucks to, like, be like, oh yeah, I agree with your statement. Because
yeah, I'd be like, I agree, Soul is pretty cool, and then just be like, so, who in the cast do you like? And then he's like, I like the one that looks like a little boy. And I'm like,
ooh.
Oh, that's no good.
Hey, honey, get this.
What?
He would say things like, socialism is God.
Okay.
Socialism is God. Socialism is life.
Yep. Shrek is love, Shrek is life.
Right?
That's the real religion.
No.
I actually want to see a legitimate cult under the guise of that.
Ooh, no thank you. I don't want it. No.
Someone who believes it's like if we pray enough, we could summon Shrek into our realm. And he can love all of us.
Oh.
That's a cult I could get behind. Alright, continue.
Jones also began preaching that he was a reincarnation of all the people. That bitch Father Divine, Gandhi, Jesus, Jesus, Buddha, and Vladimir Lenin.
Okay.
After moving to California, the church grew a fuck ton, and they opened branches in the big cities. San Fernando, San Francisco, LA. Because Ukiah had maybe about 10,000 people, and this caused limited expansion opportunities. They became a communal living group. People gave their checks up. Jones was increasing the amount of things that he thought people should give. And he took more of people's money. Very common thing for cults to do. What Jones is with Jones was saying the amount increasing of what he thought people should give is for tithing. And I don't know, some of you may not really know what tithing is. That's when you give like a certain percentage to the church to absolve your sins. If I remember correctly, it's like to absolve your sins.
Wow, how convenient.
So, there's this book called Unwind, and this is a part of it. So this family had 10 of everything.
Yeah.
And so they gave 1/10 of everything up.
Okay.
So they had 10 kids. And the kid we see in the book is number 10. He's the one they gave up to tithing to be unwound. That's when you go to a human meat farm and they harvest you for other people.
That's rough. Jeez.
Unwind is a good book by Neil Shusterman. I recommend it. It's a trilogy.
I'm good.
You don't have to read it, but I will. I'll just tell you about it.
God damn it.
And, this is all very common things for cults. We're going to take all your fucking money. Joining the temple, conformity was key. And the deeper you joined in, you'd cut your hair and dress in a certain way. This separated people from their old lives and personalities. He created the fear of us versus them. Like how people, so it's like it's either me or you.
Yeah.
And that was like the fear. Like if I was in the cult, you would be my enemy because you would not be in the cult.
Yeah.
So I couldn't trust you. 70 to 60 people were on the church's planning commission. They would often stay up late, all night, Wednesday nights. 60 to 70 people were on the church's planning commission. They would often stay up all night Wednesday nights of the meeting. Service was also on Wednesday nights and Friday nights through Sunday nights. It became a dedication status when you had the least amount of sleep after a service. Adults could not sleep during the service. And there was one woman who was nodding off during one of the commission meetings.
Yeah.
At like 1 a.m., I would think. And someone woke her up, and Jones was pointing a fucking gun at her head. Yeah, and said, if you fall asleep again, I'll fucking shoot you.
That's stupid. You would think that would raise some eyebrows.
You would think, but, at this point, they'd already moved from, Indiana to California. They've already followed this man across the country. You think they're gonna fucking give up now?
I don't know, I feel like getting threatened. Wow.
Threatened.
Getting threatened at gunpoint seems a bit extreme, one might say.
You would think. You really would think.
Fuck.
A common thing cults would do was use sleep deprivation as a tactic to make people easier to manipulate. Jones told one of his secretaries something along the lines of that if you keep people tired and if you kept people poor, no one would leave. So if you try to leave, you got no fucking money. You've given up all your money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, you make them tired, where are they going to go sleep?
Yeah.
They live communally. Then, bitch-ass Jones couldn't stop himself and he got involved in city politics. Many people involved in the election would come to the temple and court votes out of them. As they had such a a huge congregation, they could potentially swing votes, especially in California.
Oh, damn.
Jones kept track of his congregation from every little detail, from romantic lives to what they ate for dinner. And if they broke rules, they were publicly accounted for their sins. So, if you and I privately broke a rule,
yeah,
Jones would fucking know about it. This was the walls have eyes and ears.
So no finger and butt situations?
No.
Oof.
Keep your finger away from my butt.
Never.
Ugh. No.
It's okay, I don't want to go around there anyway. It's like an old catcher's mitt. Warren, you.
No, it's not. No, it is not, you asshole.
If any of y'all are Meat Canyon fans, you'll get that. Some good shit.
Anyways, a woman wrote Jones a letter telling him how much she loved him and how she would always follow him and whatever else, a culty love letter would have in it. In turn, at a planning commission, Jones told her to strip down, and he berated and degraded her and encouraged the other members to do so before he let her get dressed again.
Oof.
After this, she wrote him a letter saying how sorry she was for making him do that to her.
Wow.
He could have just very well ignored the damn letter or pulled her aside hey, look, that's inappropriate. Don't fucking do it.
This dude clearly is loving the power trip.
Yeah, he is. It's fucking banana pants.
I feel like at that point, no matter how you start your little congregation or whatever, as soon as you have as many people as they did, again, somebody with the tiny pee-pee complex he does.
Right.
Will probably, wow, surprise, surprise, not use that power correctly.
Yeah, what I'm getting ready to say next, he still doesn't use his power correctly.
Yeah.
He would often be caught in bed with other men and women. And he was now considered a sexual predator in terms of quid pro quo. Hey, look, I'll do this for you. Give me a little bit of sucky. I'll make. He'd probably have a nap or something, I'm sure.
What the fuck?
Yeah, if you.
Like I said.
Yeah, if you did things for him, you were more in his favor.
That's unfortunate.
Hardly anyone ever told him fucking no. Jones's wife hurt her back and couldn't service him, so he took up lovers, and later on, lovers in his congregation of both men and women. So he took advantage of everyone. Then he got into habitual drug use.
Awesome.
He liked speed. Yeah. In a tactic for further manipulation to his congregation, he faked getting shot. Somehow with a blank or something. That's not really elaborated on in the research I did. He fell to the ground, and the people carried him to his home to die. They didn't fucking take him, to a hospital or anything reasonable like that. But to his home, so he could fucking die. Yeah. He later walked out of his room in clean clothes, carrying his bloody shirt with a bullet hole in it, saying that he had healed himself.
Okay.
And he showed people a little dent in his chest.
Just to keep everyone all fucking sucking at the teat.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, oh my god, this man knows what he's talking about.
Exactly.
It was probably just a little setup.
One of the planning commission meetings, Jones gave everyone a cup of wine. And after they all drank it, he told them it had lethal poison and they were going to die in 45 minutes. Many people were upset, saying they didn't want to die. And at the 45 minutes, he told everyone there was no poison. He was testing their loyalty to see if they would see who would be loyal or fearful and who would drink again when the time came.
God. Fuck this guy.
Jones had started the development of Jonestown several years earlier in Guyana, prior to the release of the articles about Jones, where he had been. At some point, someone or a few people left the cults and told people what he was doing.
Wow.
And there were articles released about the sexual, physical, mental, and sexual abuse.
Wow, there you go. Some smart shit going on.
As well as having alleged to have millions in foreign accounts away from the People's Temple's knowledge.
Oh.
Yeah, so their money is being shuffled to the Cayman Islands.
Yeah. I mean, fuck. I mean, it probably has so much goddamn money.
Yeah, I mean, these people were still working and just giving him their checks. Jonestown was built by its congregants, hundreds of people. The episode of Very Scary People that it talks about, people had shown up in like the 70s. There was already like 700 people there.
Jeez.
So, I mean, by the time he was ready, they all just cut out of town. They all just left.
What the fuck?
It's weird. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking bananas.
They
Especially if that many fucking people would be down with that bullshit.
I know. Wait till you find out how many of them die.
Fuck.
They lived in glorified tents, but wood and built kind of nice, for a cult. And there was a school for the kids. They had a pavilion where they had, they could dance and sing, But this was all a cover, and it would all come to an end pretty quickly. Jones's paranoia got so far in the fact that he had security around him 24/7. At this point in the story, we are in Guyana, which is a country fucking elsewhere. I don't even know where the hell it's at.
So they just straight up and moved again, because everything came out, so they definitely were going to be after his ass in California. So he's like, all right, we need to go to the fucking middle of nowhere, pretty much.
Yeah, they went to another country, and he took everyone's passports and their money.
Yep.
So they couldn't leave even if they wanted to. I mean, it's Jesus Christ. 1/3 of Jones's cult was children.
Yep.
And another third were the elderly, and they're mainly women. And the money of having them was going straight into his pocket. So, social service money, you're not social service, social security, social is a hard word for me to say. They all went straight into his pocket. The monthly income of Jonestown was approximately $39,000 a month. And that was in like the 60s, 70s. In 2021 money, that's inflated to about $159,740.
Jesus Christ.
A month. A fucking month.
Hey, honey, you want to start a cult?
No.
Boo.
The money's not worth it.
I wanted to revive the boy.
No. Besides, his ashes were spread in the ocean.
Oh, shit.
He's Cthulhu's problem now.
No, I didn't mean him. I meant like Juan and Juarez.
Yeah?
Two-headed donkey.
Oh my god.
Sorry, like whenever we bring up cults, like, I don't know, I just find that really stupid.
That your cult failed?
That just how stupid it was, and yes, that it failed. Big rip.
Almost 1,000 people lived in Jonestown. Farming on the jungle soil was hard to do, but people worked every day, day in and day out. This is basically fucking slave labor.
Mm-hmm.
Surviving on rice and gravy. The mix of this hard work and a poor diet is a mix for fucking disaster. I mean, no one was fucking healthy. I've seen the footage, people look fucking sallow, their skin sunken in.
Christ.
Some people, were obviously fatter because I'm sure they didn't eat rice and gravy, period. I'm sure there was other things, but a lot of rice and gravy, the easiest, cheapest things to have.
Yeah.
Especially when you're pocketing, $100,000 at a time. Jesus Christ. With all this religion, there was not a single fucking service when they made it to Jonestown.
Wow, it's almost like it wasn't about religion at all.
It wasn't. It was about the communism.
Yep. Stupid.
And there was no religion services. It was a place where politics were king and Jones was its mouthpiece. Jones used fear-mongering to keep people within the walls of Jonestown. By saying, like, if you leave, they're gonna fucking get you. We left America.
Yeah.
They want your butt. And not in the fun way.
Jinx! Oh, got you, motherfucker.
Oh, you got me this time. But I can't be quiet because then we'll have no video.
Yep, exactly. Fucker.
People were disciplined if they were spoken to, if they spoke out or win against Jones. This was often compared to the Gestapo of World War II. More Nazism going on here.
Very cool. And then as soon as they talked, and he was like, "What's your name?"
It's Slave!
Your name is Slave!
For those of you who don't get it, this is from the Poughkeepsie tapes, a god-awful horror movie.
It was fucking awful, but that shit was hilarious.
The guy had this girl tied up, and he's in, like, plague phase. He had like a plague mask on, but also like Shakespeare.
Like he just stole a costume from a fucking high school drama set.
It really
and it was
did.
just a little goofy cape, a little puffed shirt, and a little plague doctor mask. And
it
he's
was
just
awful.
like, "Your name is Slave."
Yeah, it was awful.
It was great.
A group called the Concerned Relatives caused an uproar over a battle over a child Jones might have fathered while his mother was back in the States. So this guy named, I believe it was like Tim Stowens and Grace Stowens, I believe were like the parents' names. Jones might have fucked the wife, and that might be his kid.
Very cool.
Yeah. But, you know, he couldn't go back to the States because he had been summoned for custody.
Yeah.
You know, like a whole-ass court battle.
You don't say.
But at this point, he can go to prison, so obviously he's not going to come back. He also made a lot of the same threat of revolutionary suicide, calling it the White Knight. Not like the KKK White Knight, this is Knight with an N, not a K. Jones and his son, Stephen, 19 at the time, are having a fucking argument about dying, you know, in mass, you know, fucking mass suicide at this point. Jones is claiming that Stephen is too afraid to die. So, Stephen takes out his pistol, cocks it, puts it under his fucking chin, and is yelling at Jones. Jones, like the bitch boy he is, takes a revolver from someone and puts it in his mouth, uncocked.
Wow.
That's not a nice cock, bro.
Nope, not a nice cock at all.
No. The group of concerned relatives were putting pressure on Congressman Ryan to do something about this.
Because, yeah, it was... I'm guessing one of the ones who got out there was like, yo, he really wants to kill everyone.
Yeah, well, no one really, like, Jones, like, openly, you know, threatened, you know, revolutionary suicide to the United States.
Yeah.
Like, it was well known Jones wanted everyone to fucking die. Like, oh, you know, you pushed us too far, we're all gonna fucking kill ourselves, and it's gonna be your fault, Congressman Ryan.
Sure.
It actually ended up not being Congressman Ryan's fault.
Wow, surprise. Crazy
No,
man.
it was
crazy man's idea all along.
No. Well, yes, but I'll tell you who was the ultimate, like, trigger for it when we get to it. We're almost there.
Okay.
So, you know, the group of concerned relatives were putting pressure on Congressman Ryan to do something about this. After the election, Congressman Ryan goes to Guyana, to Jonestown, where he takes no fucking protection, but he takes the media. He takes reporters and an NBC News crew.
Ugh.
But he did it with the intentions of helping people.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
After his loyalty test, you know, when he made everyone drink the fucking wine, Jones told Dr. Larry Snatch to buy 1 pound of cyanide powder. That's equivalent to 1,800 lethal doses.
Very cool.
On November 15th, 1978, Congressman Ryan and company, previously mentioned, make their way to Guyana. And the company of everyone he brought with him was 17 members of the conserved relatives, 2 staffers, and 9 members of the media. November 17th, 1978, Congressman Ryan and his crew made their way into Jonestown. They kind of had to do it by force, you know, like, you're gonna let us in. Many people were interviewed, and people told them that they were happy to be in Jonestown. You know, they loved it there. That night, there was actual food to eat for everyone, even dessert. The camera crew and reporter interviewed Jones, but he just went on paranoid rants. Because, you know, drugs are bad.
And he's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and you have to think about this. He's still doing drugs this whole time.
But also, did they not notice how the people look like they were straight out of Resident Evil or something?
I guess that's what
fucking
happens when you move
hollowed eyes and shit. It's like, oh yeah, we love it here.
Well, I mean, I guess that's what happens. I mean, they must have looked healthy enough.
I guess.
But, like, not quite. But, you know, that's what happens when you move to a third world country.
And survive off rice and fucking gravy.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. The same night, Congressman Ryan gave a speech talking about how he was told by many about how happy they were to be in Jonestown. At the end, the clapping was told to be too long and the cheers too loud, almost like they were trying to prove how loyal they were to Jones and the People's Temple.
It's like Star Wars fans.
Yes. Yeah.
You guys suck. Alright, continue.
Yeah, you don't get to talk anymore about that. You're gonna end up taking...
What I do?
You know what you've done.
I don't recall.
You know exactly what you've done. This isn't gonna turn into a 3-hour video of you being mad over Star Wars.
Listen, I just like ranting because Star Wars is stupid, and people who like it are also stupid.
When we first started talking to each other, you had me on the phone for 2.5 hours about how mad you were over Star Wars. So, I
just think there's a lot of inconsistencies.
Well, yeah, but that's neither here nor there, and not for this video.
Teehee.
During all of this, a note was passed by Vernon Gosney to NBC reporter Don Harris. He was also, I believe, to be known as Mr. Lucky because of all of his fucking close calls in Vietnam when he was a reporter over there.
Oof.
So he made it out of Vietnam.
Relatively alright.
Yeah, and when this note was passed, he passed it to Don Harris, and it was meant for Congressman Ryan, asking for help to leave along with another member. A child saw the note being passed and shouted about it and alerted Jones to the fact that there was an attempt to have a secret conversation.
Oof.
Jones told defectors, if they want to leave, then leave. The next day, Congressman Ryan was going to take those who didn't want to leave, who wanted to leave with him. November 18th, 1978. Many people came forward and 16 people wanted to leave. There was almost a tug of war with the mother and father. The mother wanted to leave and take their child with them, but their father didn't let her. Don Harris fucked up. He showed Jones the fucking note passed to him, and on camera embarrassed the fucking nut job of Jen's. Yeah. This gave, Don Harris a fat ass target on his back.
Yeah.
Like a fucking idiot. Like that's
like a bitch boy Rube. Even that, listen, everyone wants to roast this motherfucker, but you probably shouldn't do it where he has like almost 1,000 people ready to murder for him.
Yeah, armed guards and everything.
Rough.
As they're leaving, the last member, Larry Layton, a feared Temple member and loyal aide to Jones, loads into the dump truck taking the defectors to the airstrip. So they probably went into a dump truck.
Oh, that's...
Yeah. Well, because that's really, you really only have, like, all-terrain vehicles, and that's what dump trucks are, because, that's what they do. Congressman Ryan is jumped by a man named Don Sly, who had a knife to... Yeah, I know.
No, dude, that's like the perfect name for like anyone shady. Like, oh yeah, I'm getting my drugs from Don Sly, or even like, oh yeah, I hired this guy to kill this guy. His name's Don Sly.
Yep.
Like, fucking hell.
Yeah. So as
it's
Congressman
like a
Ryan's
thief name,
right?
Jeez.
It's a rogue name. So as Congressman Ryan's leaving, this guy named Don Sly has a fucking knife and holds it to Ryan's throat. But he was pulled off by other Temple members. They're like, nah. But this caused Don Sly to, slice his hand. There's blood on Congressman Ryan's shirt. Yeah.
And then Don was like, wow, what's that smell? It's blood!
It's blood! At the airstrip, Layton was able to get around the pat down and went around the plane and loaded onto the other side. Coming up to the plane on the airstrip was a tractor with a group of gunmen.
Oh, wow. Who would have guessed?
They started to open fire. Vernon Gosney, one of the defectors, was on the plane. And Layton shot him 3 times.
Yeah, damn.
Gosney ran from the plane and ran to the end of the airstrip to die. He didn't. He lived. But, man, the amount of trauma, though.
Yeah, fucking hell.
All the shots were slow. Almost as if they were taking their time shooting instead of just opening fire. Like, instead of going bop, 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 bop,
Yeah.
Like, these guys are taking their time and scoping people.
Yeah.
Like, taking their fucking time just to murk. Meanwhile, back at Jonestown, Jones called a meeting and everyone met in the pavilion, where armed guards were all over the place and surrounding Jones. Jones told people, since people died at the airstrip, the government will come and kill them, and starting with the children, and the only way to get back at them would to be mass suicide that he spoke of before.
Be like, that One of these things is not like the other, my dude. That's not how the government works.
I know, but, And you know what? What I'm going to say next is kind of just a little bit of insult to injury for what we say for the jokes. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah. They used Flavor Aid. That's like Walmart brand.
That's fucked.
Man, can't even die with brand name.
No, at least have their final drink be something good, like a fucking Capri Sun asshole.
Right. Flavor Aid was mixed with tranquilizers and cyanide. They were given to the kids and babies first. If they didn't drink from a cup, they had the syringes, the ones you use, to flush out your ears.
Yeah.
They used those and filled them with the cyanide drink and launched it down their throats.
Oh, that's fucking gross.
Yep. It was filled with the potion, squirted in their mouths. Marceline Baldwin, Jones's wife, actually tried to stop them. Mm-hmm. She tried to stop the suicide. People who did not cooperate were injected and forced to drink. And those who ran away were captured. I believe only 2 people actually escaped from there.
Yeah.
But I'm not certain. So, everyone fucking died. Jones died like a pussy-ass bitch, though. He couldn't handle seeing everyone die from, movies have us thinking, especially, I believe it was, oh shit. I think it was Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. Maybe, where they have the dude, that knocks out his tooth and it's a cyanide capsule and he bites it and he says Hail Hydra and then he fucking dies.
Oh, that was the first Captain America.
Oh, that was the first one?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes. It was right after the Super Soldier.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's not fast like that. It's fucking slow. It'll take you a fat minute to die. And Jones couldn't handle that.
Wow.
So there's controversial opinion on this. But he was found, when they went to find everyone, he was found on a pillow with a gunshot in his head. Now, only 2 people had gunshots. Jones and his personal nurse.
Oh, wow.
So, Jones, the thing that people think most likely is he had someone shoot him.
Yeah.
Because he's a fucking pussy. He had an uncocked gun in his mouth while his son is holding a gun under his chin ready to fucking die just to prove a point to his dad. Fuck you, I will die right here, right now, watch me.
Yeah, but he was too much of a bitch to fucking take his own life.
Yeah, so that's the reports say it's he killed himself. But that's one of the controversial opinions, but he still died like a pussy. Marceline died too. It's not confirmed if she was forced to drink or if she drank willingly.
Yeah.
I would just, if that were my husband, I would have just drank willingly, fuck this,
Yeah, fuck that noise.
Yeah.
Clearly made a lot of mistakes. So, that was Jonestown, or?
Yeah. 909 people died in Jonestown, Jesus. And 5 people died at the airstrip.
That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought of a new thing we could do at the end of these videos.
What's up?
So, we should rate these cult leaders out of...
out of 10?
Not out of 10, but just, their title. We dubbed the fucking...
Sir Crazy Pants or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that'd be cool. So, what should we call Jones?
I dubbed the Stupid Bitch Boy.
That one works because he really was a fucking pussy.
Yeah, the fact that he literally gained so much power and so many followers, but he still fucking struggled with his mortality so fucking much.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's ready to ruin so many lives. But he's so much of an egotistical fuck to be like, no, I could never hurt me.
No, my baby hands can't handle the cyanide.
I can't drink the cyanide.
Coming from the guy that does speed.
Yep.
That's...
Officially, we're saying it here, folks, we award him of the title Stupid Ass Bitch, or Stupid Bitch Boy. I like Stupid Bitch Boy.
I like
better.
Stupid Bitch Boy, too.
Alright.
Should we, rate David Berg as, a late one? That was our last video.
Yeah, David.
He kind of just died, and, had just, a cult, kind of like a fucked up cult.
Yeah. What do you dub him?
Senior Creepy Cult.
Alright.
Senior Creepy Cult.
Well, I don't know. No, it's him, not the cult.
Oh.
So just...
I don't know, he just creepy. I don't know if he personally did anything, because that's not, really what was shown, the documentary or anything.
Yeah, it was more so the cult.
You know what? We'll leave that one in hiatus for now until we figure it out.
Well, just can you give me a quick refresher?
Of
what you did.
That was Children of God.
Yes.
That had it was kind of like I would kind of call it like kind of like a molestation sex kind of cult. They had like the flirty fishing where like you fuck to convert people.
Oh fuck yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that fucking Pimp Daddy Creep.
There we go. You heard it here first. David
go.
Berg was Pimp Daddy Creep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for coming to episode 2 of The Wild World of Cults with it's me, Demon Baby Doll, and It's a Bone Man.
Yep.
Also, my resourcing, I'll put it down in the description, but it was the Wikipedia and episodes 11 and 12 of season 1 of Very Scary People with Donnie Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg's brother.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So, what is the next thing on the list, baby?
I think I'm kind of going between doing Heaven's Gate Cults. That'll be referenced with the 4-episode miniseries on HBO Max about the Heaven's Gate Cult and their Wikipedia, obviously.
Okay.
Maybe a mix of that book.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm still kind of going through some stuff, trying to figure out, you know, how I want to line it up, because if I do this, the Heaven's Gate next, it'll be two suicide cults. But I think I might, because there's a fun fact in that video I really want to do.
Yeah.
So I think I might make that one next, following this.
All right, stay tuned, folks.
All right. Thank you, and have a good day, and happy Pride.